guys, I think we can start. So can you all hear me and see me well? No, thank you. All right, so today is going to be the first class for that online class where guys meet and talk about, that freestyle classes where we decide in advance what the topic is and we can just work on that, okay? And I might need your participation during class because today we're going to talk about task response and cohesion coherence, or in other words, idea development. So I might need to share my screen. All right, there you go. So this is the topic we'll be using to develop task response and cohesion coherence. So the goal of the class, or the goals, to focus on task response and cohesion and coherence. Now, to briefly explain, I would ask you guys if anybody wants to share what they think task response and coherence means. Do we have any volunteer? Because again, as part of class, I think you might want to participate and maybe share your views. So if anybody wants to speak, there you go. Okay, we have somebody that wants to raise their hand. So yeah, raise your hand if you want to share your views. What is task response and cohesion and coherence? No volunteers? Okay, fine. I'll explain this myself, I guess. So task response is about answering the question, like whatever the task is, yeah? Understanding the task and answering the question. And CC is about connecting those ideas and explaining your ideas well. So it's so logical and so easy to follow, that the listener or the reader has no problem. And if you do these two well, 7, 8, 9, easy. And these do not depend on your language actually at all. There is some part of it depends on the language, but you can have great language and still struggle here, okay? So that's why. First of all, let's look at the task now, because after you see a question, our priority is to understand the task. So nowadays, it's easy to apply for and be given a credit card. Oh yeah, by the way, do we know what is a credit card? If you guys don't want to speak, you might just want to type or text your answers. So participate, please. Yeah, this is important. This is for me to decide whether such online classes would actually work or not. And do I enjoy that process or not? Do you guys enjoy the process or not? So you may raise your hand to speak or type your answer, whichever you prefer. What is a credit card? I recently found out that many people actually do not know the difference. Different from a debit card. And this question I asked you guys is actually a real question from the real exam. Back in the days when there were paper-based tests, I remember getting this question actually as one of my topics. So, a payment card that we use daily to pay. Okay, credit cards that we use. Okay, contactless payment method without cash. Yeah, but not quite. Credit card Credit card is the card where you don't have the money, but you borrow from the bank, like a loan or something. Debit card is the money you actually have. So for example, let's say I want to buy a fridge, but I cannot afford it. It costs $2,000, but I don't have $2,000 like at all, okay? So what I can do is if I have a credit card, I can ask the money like from the bank, say, hey, lend me some $2,000, I'll pay you back later. And if I have a credit card, I can actually do that. But if I don't have a credit card, that's it. I will probably have to ask somebody else for money or just wait until I have money to buy that fridge. So that's different. Credit card is borrowing money that you don't have. Exactly. There you go. I just got it right. That's it. And now back to the question. So yeah, we got it. We got the topic. So apparently it is easy. When reading the question, it's important not to read the question too quickly. You know, sometimes we read the question quickly and we don't get it, or we think we got it and boom, we struggle to come up with ideas. So I would savor this process. You know, nowadays, this is important. It's highlighting that now it is like that. Before it wasn't like that. So that's also an important word here. Nowadays, it's easy to apply for and be given a credit card. Can you believe it? Like literally in some countries, you are actually encouraged to get such cards. In Uzbekistan, these cards are not really popular. I mean, I know one bank that offers credit cards, but many banks don't actually do that. They don't offer that. So anyways, but now it's getting easier and easier to apply and get a credit card. However, some people experience problems when they are not able to pay their debt back totally. At this point, I would recommend visualizing, you know, like visualize people who get loans like that and cannot pay back on time, right? And those who can pay back on time, no problem. But think about those who cannot, you know. So we're talking about problems and debt or debts. So now question, the task, in your opinion. Do the advantages of credit card outweigh the advantages? Oh, by the way, here, when you look at this question, this part of the question may not even be there. It may like right away start with this. Do you think that now these questions are different or are they asking the same thing? Like when it says, in your opinion, versus just beginning with, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Are these questions same or are they different? Are they asking for something else? What do you think? Feel free again to text, you know, if these questions are same or different. And if you say they're totally different, tell me why they're different. Like in what way they're different. Oh, somebody says they're the same. In what way they're same or in what way they're different? First is not asking for opinion. Okay. First one is asking for opinion and the latter one is advantages. Interesting. I would say one is asking for is the one constant. Well, people, I guess I'll be disappointing some people, but these questions are asking the same thing. Like literally, because like simplify, yeah? If you simplify this, it's simply saying, are there more, you know, benefits or drawbacks? But both are saying the same thing, you know? Both are asking the same thing. But to answer this question, if you say there are more benefits, whose opinion is that? When you say, for example, answer more benefits, yeah, for example, or more drawbacks, whose opinion is it? Isn't it your opinion? So in a way, it is asking for your opinion, isn't it? You see, like that, in your opinion, or do you think that the advantages outweigh the drawbacks? It's like hidden, but it's there, okay? So both questions are asking for the same thing. In your opinion, are there more benefits or are there more drawbacks? So it is asking for. Now, it's asking for our opinion. First of all, we need to make very clear what we think. Then we need to know like potential problems or drawbacks of this idea, of this trend. And we need to think about some benefits. 3 things we need to do. yeah, to answer this question really well. Okay, so now I think we got the task, we got the topic. Next step, exactly, you want to look at the question, you want to listen to it. I hope we're clear. Both are asking for your opinion, people. Yeah, okay. All right, now next step is, I would suggest one of the things that can help you in writing is to approach, it's important part, approach writing, let's say task 2, okay, like you approach speaking part 3. I say that for a reason, because when you think about part 3 questions, they're usually general questions, right? You have to develop, you have to explain yourselves. They're the tougher questions. And if you think about it, writing is kind of similar to that. And I say, look at it like speaking, because when you're asked, okay, during speaking, what do you focus on? Ideas, right? And explaining your ideas. You don't focus on not grammar and not language. I mean, you don't focus on those things. And if you make mistakes, you move on anyways, you continue explaining. So try to do it this way. Yeah. Okay, so right now we are going to plan ideas. Now, planning is key to getting really high scores, because these 2 skills, task response and cohesion, depend on your ideas, on your thinking. So that's why we want to focus on thinking first. Okay, one more time. Question, I visualize it. I actually know in my head, people, before even we go on, I have some people in my head who get loans like that and, you know, use credit card, but not like wisely, and they end up getting loans they cannot pay back, they're always in debt, etc. So I have visuals of these people. But at the same time, I'm thinking about people who know how to use it. You know, I know other people who have like cards like that, and they borrow money, they pay back, and they actually benefit. So I have these visuals in my head, and that should help me develop ideas well. So now to plan ideas, what I'm going to do is I get a piece of paper. I usually, under exam conditions, I plan on a piece of paper, and I look at both sides. So one side, I don't decide actually. I have no idea, honestly, what I really think, whether this is good or bad. So to find out what I really think, I'm going to look at both sides. So let's talk about, on the one hand, let's talk about drawbacks. Okay, doesn't matter which one I start with, or benefits. Let's talk about benefits. Sure, why not? Usually we start with good stuff and then the benefits, drawbacks. Drawbacks. So drawbacks of credit cards and benefits of credit cards. So what is one benefit, people? If you got it, yes, like you can borrow money to purchase something that you cannot purchase otherwise, like immediately. I need at least 2 for each. Notice that we have benefits and drawbacks. So just saying one idea is not going to be enough. So can you think of one argument for each at least? Just write your answers there. Really fast of getting money. No, but that's what's the benefit of that? Just saying that it is fast is not helpful. Okay. To help you guys with good ideas, you need to visualize, maybe personalize the topic a little bit. Imagine that you are getting that credit card. What would be good about it? One benefit is, first one, is that, you know, okay, fine. We can use your idea, like getting fast and easy money to get something big. Okay, now I'm going to develop this idea. This part is important, okay? Because just saying this is not like a good thing, but if you develop it really well, and you could explain it and write about it easily. So what do you mean? So like, what kind of big thing? I ask myself questions to develop it. This is answering my question of what? I usually like to ask myself questions like, so what is one benefit? You know, oh, this is the benefit. What do you mean big? I ask myself like that in my head. What do you mean something big? I say, for example, a car. Why not? Some people get a credit card to get a car, or a fridge. Doesn't matter. You know, something big that they cannot afford otherwise. Okay. Now I ask myself a question, what's good about it? Why loan for such big things is good? It's important that you know how to ask right questions based on what you just said. That is how you naturally unfold and develop the story, develop your ideas better. And it'll be easy for you to later to connect these into a nice paragraph. So what do you mean big? Example, like a car fridge. Why loans, no, not what. Why loans for such big things would be good? And now I say, well, because such things improve people's lives. Improve people's lives. Like now I ask, like, what do you mean? Or how? You know, what do you mean? Or how? I have my questions like that. So, for example, I'm imagining like, let's say a young person who has no job, right? Can get a car and start driving to make money. And they are being smart about it, you know, so they are borrowing money to improve their lives. And if they're smart about it, if they do it legally, you know, like with such a smart move, they are being responsible because they are working, you know, they're being responsible and help maybe themselves or somebody like their family. At this point, I can give you more specific example about, say, my uncle who literally did that, okay? If you don't like personal examples like that, then you can talk about countries. Like, for example, in US, many immigrants, when they just get to US, yeah, like they have a degree or something, they have some money, but not a lot. And they don't maybe speak the language well, they don't have like great sources of income or anything. They can do such basic things like driving around and where they don't have to even use the language much. So they can get by and build their lives like that. So there you go. If you don't like my uncle example, use in US, many immigrants example. Immigrants become drivers without speaking English much, or without, you know, specific instructions, without special training. So easy and, or maybe easier and responsible way to improve their lives. To improve life. So in this way, how all of this happened, right? Without training. It all started with credit cards. Way to improve lives. And it all started with having the opportunity to have some fast money to obtain something substantial. There. Now I nicely linked and tied. Now you might see like, oh, this is so big, like this is a lot. It's not really a lot, but it may look like it because I'm just learning to think critically right now. I'm just planning my ideas, as you can see, right? And I'm trying to write it all completely so that in a way I am showing you what's happening in my head, like thinking out loud, but I'm writing it out loud in a way. But under exam conditions, you can actually shorten this a lot. So if we shorten this idea, shorter version of this plan is simply like this. Credit cards, you know, good. They help some people to improve life. Okay, for example, car to drive and make money. And make money for immigrants in US. That's it. It can be shorter like that, but to make it short like that, I mean, you can make it short like that, but then once you start writing or talking, let's say speaking, you should be able to do this. Yeah. If you can do that, you know, like you're already so much ahead. But this is only one idea, right? You guys see it? You're following it? Just one idea. The next thing we need to do is what? Convenience, improve life condition, emergency financial support, totally. What's the next step? Bye-bye. Thank you. Take care. What do you think I should do next now? Look at my plan. I have benefits and I have drawbacks. What's next? You can write, or would you guys like to actually speak your idea? You can give me one idea and maybe develop it like that. If anybody wants to speak. All right, I see one person who wants to speak. See Jasco. So allowed to speak. Oops, we lost Jasco. I have shown you the written version, but you can do the spoken version. At first, you actually think in your head, like it's a speaking task, you know, like you walk through that idea in your head and then just like briefly write it down like this so that you don't forget while writing. In speaking, you kind of already do this automatically, you know, if you ask yourself such right questions, like, what do you mean by, why this is good, why that's bad? And then so there are more benefits or more drawbacks. Anybody wants to speak and share their view, explain their idea. Don't be shy, people. No, nobody wants to speak. I guess everybody is shy today. All right, fine. I'll just continue myself then. Okay, now what's missing next is developing the second idea, because this was just one idea to improve life. It's a big idea, right? But is there another way we can, what else we can do? Or maybe this is a good idea, actually. Improve lives, that's a big thing. Some people can start a business, for example, or some people can start education for such money. Basically, they're using it for good purposes like that. Yeah, and they can, if they can pay it back, then no problem, you know, because otherwise, oh, okay. You see, as I was thinking about it, I had another argument. That's what task response is, developing strong arguments and developing your ideas and answering the question. Even if I have one strong argument here, this may not be just enough because it's, I have like one idea. So can I think of another? Like, I'm going to shorten this, but I hope you can like develop it like that now. Another is people become independent. become more independent and responsible. Now, what do you mean by this? How? Okay. I ask myself why and how. That way, people, like, instead of relying on relatives or family, you know, let's say you want to start a business, but you can't ask your family. Like, you ask and then nobody has that extra money to give you. Thankfully, you can get a credit card and, you know, like, enjoy without feeling sad that you cannot start that because you don't have the money. The same way, we could talk about trips. If you wanted to live your life like right now, you want that independence, you want that joy, you don't have to wait until later once you finally have it, or you save up some money to do something that you always wanted to do, like trips or starting a business. So that actually encourages people to be more like, instead of relatives, yeah, or waiting to save up money to achieve something big like a dream trip or vacation or whatever, travel, or starting business. Again, some people can start, you know, pursuing their dreams like that quickly, and whenever they need money, they don't have to wait, they don't have to feel bad about it, and just go and do it. Again, I can give you an example of, let's say, people in Germany. Instead of Germany, or my aunt, my sister, your choice, my sister, you can use the examples like, we need something more specific, but it doesn't matter whether you're talking like a global scale or something personal, your choice, whichever you feel comfortable with. So talk about like in Germany, you know, credit cards are so popular there, where people are independent. They, like, compared to, we can also compare contrast, like compared to Uzbekistan. It doesn't even have to be true. Just make your point, you know, develop it better. We can say how in Uzbekistan, people usually wait, you know, people wait to save money, for example, to travel. It's usually expensive. And they can finally do that, or maybe never be able to do that. But in Germany, or my sister, who uses credit card, like achieves her dreams, like, you know, so achieves her goals, enjoys her life independently. Achieves her goals, or people in Germany, your choice, achieve their goals, dreams, and remain independent and strong. Also, like, because they know that it's the money that they're borrowing somebody, they have to pay it back, you know. And if they were just borrowing from a friend, they might say like, I'm going to give you back later, I'm going to give it back to you later, you know. But with a bank, with a credit card, you have to pay back on time, you know. And that kind of teaches people responsibility. They can't borrow money unless, I don't know, unless they can't pay back. So, and spend responsibly because they have to pay back the bank compared to friend who you might say like, oh, I'm going to pay later, or never pay, never give back. It happens sometimes, especially, you know, family, friends, it could happen. But with a bank, it's serious. You feel that responsibility. You do whatever you need to do with the money, and you pay back. So in a way, it could teach people some financial responsibility. So credit cards can teach people to be independent and financially literate. Financially responsible. Boom, that's it. This is my second idea. What's important is that, I don't know, as you can see, I'm developing my ideas. Like, I have a lot to say, and I'm not repeating myself. but I'm explaining myself. That's what you need for Band 9 and task response. I mean, we're halfway there, of course. We still have the other side, you know, why it can be. And we're missing, remember, so far I have done one benefit. I need to do the same with the drawbacks, and then I need to choose finally what I think. All right, so far, are you guys following? Am I explaining it too fast or not? Oh, don't worry about the grammar. This all grammar is, no. Like, while planning like that, you don't think about grammar, okay? Like, here, yeah, when I said, like, it cheats or goes or has. This is like optional. Like, if you talk about people in Germany, then obviously your grammar would have to be correct and you have to say people have. But if you're talking about, say, one person like my sister, then you say she has or whatever. So, but don't worry about grammar or spelling. None of that matters while we are thinking about ideas right now. Our focus is only on ideas, okay? Just like in the speaking. If you're speaking and you focus on grammar, vocabulary, you might get interrupted. And that can distract you. Right now, the goal is only focusing on main points. How else I can explain myself, you know, like that's the point. I feel like my ideas are strong. I think I got it. At this point, I would move on to the next. Now the drawbacks, okay? So can anybody think of any drawback of credit cards? I mean, in the question already says that some people cannot pay back. That is already a drawback, I guess, right? So can you think of any other? Let's check. Do we have anyone who wants to share their views? Like, oops, how do you? Okay, I'm kind of not sure if I should click on that thing, so I'm not sure. Okay. So any drawbacks? People who cannot pay back might have a burden later like stress. Oh, that's a good point. Exactly. Totally. Okay, let's go with that. So the drawbacks of credit cards, like those who can't, pay back on time, suffer. Totally. Exactly. So people who can't pay back on time suffer emotionally and financially because, you know, like if you cannot pay back on time, bank is not going to say, okay, pay back later. You will actually pay extra interest rates. So you end up paying even more if you don't pay on time. So there's kind of punishment. So that is suffering financially. Emotionally, financially, right? Physically, some people stress so much about it that they might start having health issues. Physically, like, you know, too much stress and worry. There you go. You might have that as well, right? So any other ideas? Okay. Oh, so you guys are giving me a very good idea. Another one could be actually encourage what? Spending? That's true. Some people are irresponsible like that, or they might just get too excited. Like, why wait? Yeah, why save up and wait if there is ready money right now that you can take? And that can encourage extra or unnecessary spending. Unnecessary spending or reckless spending. You know, some people can be reckless like that. They are not thinking, like less thinking and more buying without thinking again. They'll be like, I'm just going to get it right now and then pay back later. Well, what if they lose their job, you know, but then they have this credit card, you know? So, and then we can go back to these outcomes. So I already have 2 strong ideas. All we need to do now is to develop these ideas like we did here. with example, with what happens, what are the consequences, maybe compare contrast to develop your idea strong. All right, so far you get it, yeah? Like following. Okay, we have 2 strong ideas. Now what we need to do is maybe finalize our ideas. I have 2 strong ideas here and I have some good ideas here. So let's choose my position. Next thing is to choose your opinion, or position, I call it. Choose position. We looked at both sides. Notice that I have 2 strong ideas on here and here. I would say choose the easy option, whichever is easy for you to talk about, not like what you really feel. Honestly, for me, I would say that, okay, let me see. What are the options? Like, option A is to say right away, it depends. Yeah. Whether credit cards have more benefits or drawbacks depends on the person. Are they responsible or not? Yeah, depends on the situation or something. That's one possibility. Another option to choose is that more problems, more drawbacks. You can say that. If that's easy, go ahead and do this, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. Or you say, no, there are more benefits. So we have 3 options. Either option, either opinion is fine. Like, it doesn't really matter. What matters, though, is you choose one and you keep that clearly everywhere you write. So if you choose at the beginning, it depends, but then in body 2, you end up saying, so there are more problems. You see, you will confuse everybody, even yourself. So make sure you stick to this. In your writing down, like in your plan, let's say, okay, before I decide, I'm going to like talk it out, like what I really think, like, or what I could say. So if I say, it depends on what? Depends on the person. Some people who are responsible will definitely benefit, but those who are not, they will not. So what does that mean if I say it depends? And imagine the banks are asking me, you know, like, we have this idea of credit card. Should we have credit cards in your country? And I say, well, it depends on the people. Does it make sense? And if it depends on the people, what the banks would do, like, should they talk to the people and then ask them, like, are you a responsible person? Because if you are, we'll give you a credit card. If not, we're not going to give you. And who's going to say, like, I'm not responsible? So choosing it depends is a bit confusing, honestly. I can't develop that answer. I don't have enough time to think it all, like, you know, think it through entirely, completely, and have ready safeguards. So what if I just say there are more drawbacks? What does that mean? Of course, there are people. Oh, no. Okay. I changed my mind. Okay. I realize that there are more benefits. Here's why. There are many people, you know, who need little support like that at the beginning. And many people generally want to improve their lives. They might just need a little help. And why such people should suffer just because of some people who are irresponsible, right? I think this is unfair. So I'm going to choose there are more benefits, and these drawbacks can be addressed with proper screening. Like, you can't just go to a bank and ask them for a credit card. You know, people should be able to prove that they have certain income or source of income. They have a plan to pay back and everything. And if they don't have that, then maybe banks should not give them this credit card. But those who can, who show promising future or potential, should definitely get this opportunity. So let me see if my ideas answer the question. I'm just going to check back with the question just one more time. It is easy to be given a credit card. Why it's getting easier? Because banks benefit from it. You know, like, if you get a card like that and pay back with interest, banks that are making more money. This is how they survive, actually. So it's good for them, and they encourage more people. And if you cannot pay back, they will make sure that they get the money back, actually, from your relatives somehow. I don't know the details, but they try. So you see, some people, majority, can actually pay back. We just need to make sure that they can pay back. If they cannot pay back, maybe don't give them the credit card. That's it. Okay, great. I think I'm answering the question. So my position now, I'm going to write it down so that I don't forget. My opinion. While some people may be irresponsible and struggle to pay back their credit card, many people actually benefit from it because they use loan to improve their lives and become independent. Okay, so yeah, many people should not suffer. They should not suffer because of some irresponsible people, like that. You can include this opinion here if you want, or don't. They should not suffer because of some reckless people. And that's it. That's my opinion. Next thing is to plan the structure for the essay. So introduction, you know what it is, yeah? So say the topic and then give your opinion. That's what you do. Body paragraph 1, because I am choosing benefit side, I feel strongly about this one. I'm going to start with drawbacks first. And I'm going to start it with on the one hand, yeah, some people, this is planning. You don't actually write it like that, but this is just for you to understand it. So yeah, some people may be bad with money. Maybe bad with money, and credit cards are not for them. Explain how they might not be able to use this well, they're just irresponsible, they will suffer, or what if they lose their job, they cannot pay back, so there's a lot of problems like this. So you develop this side now in one body paragraph, but then body two, we'll start with however, many people, or the majority of people use credit cards wisely, or can use wisely, and can learn to use better, or how to use better. How to use it better. I'll talk about why this is good. For example, I'll develop it. One very important thing, okay? This is for those who want 8 or 9 for sure. We need to have, okay, and you will write conclusion, yeah? Now, this is actually enough structure for 7, even 8, but for those who want 9, for those who want a 9 in task response, there's one thing you have to do. Can anybody guess what I have to do for a task response to get 9? What should I do, people? Let's see if you know it. What is one thing I need to do? You saw my plan, you saw my structure. There's one thing I kind of did not include. I didn't really write, but it should be there. Any thoughts? Thesis statement. No, not really. Thesis statement means simply your answer to the question, and I have it here. This will be your thesis statement, or the answer to the main question. All right, for the sake of the time, all right, I would say what we need now is counter argument. I need counter argument. This part is very, very important. You see, what is counter argument? I am discussing here one side, yeah, like why some people might be bad with credit cards. Maybe some people don't need this money. They don't deserve that. Okay, don't give them credit card, but others need it. What do we do with these people? You know, what do we do with such situation? That part should be included here to support this side. So my counter argument, I don't have it in my plan, but I should. I'll write it. So I'll be like, you can actually add it to this body paragraph or write a separate paragraph. It doesn't matter. It's about how well you link it to the rest of the essay. So I usually do not really write a third paragraph. I just blend it in with my second paragraph. I'll be like, why many people actually use it. And I'll just say, and when it comes to those, you know, like reckless people we talked about, reckless people, banks should just do a good job of screening them well. Banks should do a better job of screening. Screening means like checking, you know, screening or checking them to make sure they can pay back. Can pay back the money. And okay, at this point, I have this idea that because I know how banks actually work and they're interested in just making money, they don't really care whether you're poor or rich. So I think that a critical reader might be like, well, they might question me, you know, they might be like, well, bank's job is to make money. How about that? So bank's job purpose, you know, is to make money off people. Poor or rich, doesn't matter, you know, poor or rich. Okay, so I know that these people might say that, so now I'm going to argue back and say, okay, in that case, and governments. So not just banks, but government should be also involved. Government should help with that. I mean, I'm going to shorten it into my plan right now, but essentially I'm saying that government should have laws and regulations so that banks cannot take advantage of vulnerable people who are desperate for money but have no plan B to pay back or anything, you know. And then if there are such people, the banks themselves will suffer anyways. They just lose money. So government should have the laws with laws and regulations. And banks should do a better job of making sure that whoever's getting that, receiving that credit card is worth it, responsible, and has income. You know, that's why we don't give credit card to children, for example. Regulations. Boom, that's it. You see like how it goes smoothly with this? Yeah, so that way now, when I have the structure, you will not have questions for me. You will not be like, oh, what about this or what about that? If you can't, that means I'm doing a good job in developing my idea so well that you don't have questions for me. Does that make sense, people? Exactly. Well, I don't need to refute the counterargument because this thing, the body one is kind of the opposite to my side, and now I'm arguing that. But you got it, exactly. All right, so far, can you understand? Do you see what's happening? How to develop ideas strongly and well? So far, we talked about task response, yeah? And if you are wondering like, hey, what about cohesion and coherence? Cohesion and coherence for us would be all of this where we use it. If you remember, I asked myself questions earlier, like, so, for example, like, what about these people? Like, all of these were cohesive devices, or they will become cohesive devices because you will be developing them by saying, while, for example, because, yeah? This is essentially because or due to, consider, blah, blah, like all of these questions that we asked will become some form of linking. And linking does not always have to be like linking word, but it can be a grammatical structure like while. Here, this while was my cohesive device actually, and grammar, because I'm contrasting. If you see a sentence beginning with while, you already know there is a second side. So this is how you expect me to have the opposite side after. Like some people maybe, sure, but, I have this but in the middle. But I don't need to say that because I already have this while. So this is how you can follow my ideas. I have because, which is also cohesive device. It is a cohesive device. They is cohesion and coherence. So this is how I'm, nicely linking it. I say some people here, and later I say many people, you see? So I'm not saying some people good, some people cannot benefit, not just some. That'll be confusing. So I say some, but many can actually do well. So all of that is cohesive devices. So if you plan like this, you will not suffer from linking. You don't have to even think about it that much, also, because that naturally comes. When we speak, our linking comes naturally if we are just following our ideas. But if we're following linking words simply, then we overuse linking words like moreover, or we try to use some fancy linking words like nonetheless, but we don't really understand how to use it, and this is how we end up having problems. Okay? Any questions so far, people, based on everything we've talked about? I'm going to give you maybe a minute or two. If you have questions, well, when and where can we add a counter argument? So you add the counter argument here, right? You can add it here after, blend it in with your body paragraph 2, or mention it right after the end of body paragraph 1, and then you start the paragraph 2 with therefore, or write a third paragraph entirely for it. There's several ways to do it. Don't think that